Garden vlog time. I've not done one of these for a while, have I? And with a new phone. So check this out. It's pretty smooth. It's rather smooth. So let's start off with the worst thing here, right? This mess over here. These are mostly come from seeds and whatnot from bird feed. This is the Bird Buddy. It was a Kickstarter thing. As you can see, I've not actually used it for a little bit. A spider set up shop. I need to clean the thing and set it up again and make it all usable, but I've kind of been ignoring it. I've been away and I've been dealing with toothache followed by a serious case of bloat and indigestion because of the tablets I was on, so I'm just getting over that now. It's been a kind of shit few weeks since I've been back, but yeah. Got sunflowers for the first time. I like these things. It was a mixed pack. One mistake I have done is I've mixed too many of them together. So yeah, this one did really well. In fact, you can look at the little bee on there. Hey there, buddy. Are you enjoying yourself, huh? I bet you are. Oh, is that tasty? Good. But I packed too many of them together. Now, this one was battered by birds, which is good because it allowed one of them, the only one that didn't get completely battered, to thrive. But yeah, these are doing pretty good. It's taken them a while, but now that we've got a bit of sun and we're getting a bit of rain now, they're doing pretty good. There's a few of them over there. This is a, I'm going to have to get rid of these actually. I wouldn't want a bee being caught in one of them. This is a bell pepper plant, right? And I've got a bunch more of them over here. These were indoors. And I had one issue after a fucking another with them over and over and over and over and over again. When I went away, I took them over to a neighbour's house. He looked after them, but unfortunately because of the heat, he had the window open. And I came back for them being caked in greenfly. I don't blame him. With this weather, you need to have the fucking windows open. But they were caked in greenfly. So it doesn't matter what I did to them, I couldn't get rid of the greenfly. So I ended up like, right, I'm having greenfly in my house now. We're not doing that. I'm bringing them outside. The weather's decent enough. They should be okay. And since they've been outside, they've actually been doing better. Probably because the greenfly has predators out here. So the leaves are far more vibrant than they were before. They're less droopy. They seem to be doing well. And you know what? I don't think they have greenfly anymore. So yeah, outside is better for them. So let's go through some stuff. That is a big weed I need to take care of. So one thing I did do this year is I got wildflower seeds. 2 packs of them, and I just spread them all along here. So this entire thing is just fucking wild at this point. However, the bees love it. And one thing I have noticed is you can see on this one here, so do the pests. Earlier this year, those fucking things were caking my yellow rose up top, but for some reason they'd rather kill this thing than my roses, which I'm beyond happy for. Yes, kill this thing, don't kill my roses. This is dealing with the mold you get every year with them, and one thing I keep meaning to do is wrap some string around this and tie it back so it doesn't grow bent. I need it to grow straight, otherwise it's going to end up falling over its own weight. It needs better support, I think. So yeah, but there's a mixture of things here. There are some weeds here, there are some wildflowers here, there are some that people would be confused as to which is which, and you know what, I kind of like it. I'm just going to leave it. I'll get rid of any weeds that I know can be a massive problem. I'll get rid of nettles, and there are these stringy looking plants. Not this one, but there is a stringy looking plant that grows around here that will completely take over, and if I let that root, it will just cause absolute havoc. So I've seen that among it, I've removed that, but outside of them, you know, it's doing fine. You can see there's a lot of moss growing in the sides, and then we've got the creeping thyme doing its thing. You can see more of that back there. It's a really nice wild area, and as you might be able to hear and see, there are bees fucking everywhere. Bees love lavender, obviously. So this thing is getting to the point where it's actually starting to scare me. Because it is. I knew it would do this all along, but this is the same age as this guy. They bought them the same day, from the same place, from the same price. But it just shows you what not being restricted will do to these guys. And you know what? I really like lavender. It's part of the mint family. The mint family is my favorite grouping of plants. I think it's gorgeous. And when it does get too big for its britches, I will chop it down and I will use some of that inside the house, and it'd be nice. But yeah, the bees fucking love it, and because it's around all this, it just kind of pollinates everything else, so it's great. But like, the mixture of color from the wildflowers, it's nice. It's a nice wild area. You got more wildflowers going here. You've got this thing. I don't know what this is, but this is completely covering what was once phlox. But it's just grown so wild at this point. Like, it's nice. You've got more creeping thyme over there. More wildflowers. Just wildflowers as far as the eye can see. We have the white lavender. One mistake I've realized I've made for this is I've not cut it back. So I've never seen it again, so I've been scared to fuck with it just in case it doesn't come back. However, you can see under here there's a lot of dead parts, so it's doing that thing where it's growing over the dead, and as such it's kind of tumbled over itself. So what I will do next year is I will cut it all back, just like I do with the black peppermint, and we'll let it grow and see what it does. We've got, I think it's called orangino. It's a herb, basically. You use it in your cooking. And I've only had this about, I'd say, 4 or 5 weeks. And it's been growing really, really well. I've not used any of it yet. Next time I cook meat or fish, I'll use it. These I bought randomly. They seem to be, I've heard that they were hardy. You can see the name of them back there. I heard that they were hardy. I've not looked into them. I know nothing of what they do. But, I thought they looked nice and they go well in that nice little pot. Here we've got things that should be seeds. We're getting a little bit of growth here, but I'm not so sure just yet. We have cooking thyme here. I say thyme, but I know it's thyme, isn't it? But it's, yeah, this is, again, I've not used this just yet in cooking, but it's growing nicely. The lemon balm has done really well this year. It's come back with a vengeance. It's growing really well. I've harvested this a few times for drinks. It's, yeah, it's looking pretty damn good. The small lavender I pointed out before, not so much. This thing is struggling because it's in a pot, and if I pull this back, you'll notice that the pot is also absolutely covered in moss. The moss has kind of taken over this, but, you know, I've already got, like, a massive lavender, and I've got this one, so it's like, I've got 2 big lavenders. I'm just letting that do its thing. I've got some plants and shoes here. These, unfortunately, haven't done well. This is creeping thyme that hasn't taken for some reason. However, I still like the way it looks, so these will be going on the potting station over there. These have seeds in that haven't taken. Unfortunately, I believe they're the same seeds that are in the pot. This is a form of sedum. I need to remove some grass there. This is a form of sedum, and for me, it seems like you can always tell sedum by the fact that it feels fake. These things feel like plastic, but one thing about these, like I've said with this before, never, ever, 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 ever put it in the ground. If you put it in the ground, it will become a weed and you will never get rid of it. Speaking of which, if you have these things in a big pot like this, make sure you get rid of anything like this that you see falling off the side, because if this goes into the ground, you're fucked. Any little cutting like that can become a new growth. These are my sedums. There's 3 different types in here. We've got coral sedum, like curling over. They're in flowering season, and I love these things because they're so easy to grow. They're super fucking hardy. You can cut them and spread them as easy as pie. Like, they're super fucking simple. They look beautiful. They're really unique, and when it's flowering season, they look like something from a 1950s fucking science fiction novel. They're just so fucking weird. You can't quite see from this angle, but if I pull this back like this, look at this. It looks like something from a science fiction novel. I love it. But we've got coral sedum here. At the back, we've got blue sedum. And in the front, we got yellow sedum. Now, why is that called blue? The major difference I see between them in flowering season is these ones have, like, thicker, pointy bits than them. There's a slight difference as well. So these are yellow right here. And then this is blue. There's a slight colour difference, but it's basically the same plant. And they were in separate pots at one point, and I've just let them take over. I've swapped it around at some point because the blue completely took over. I'd say about 60%, 70% of this pot is the blue sedum. But apparently the bees love them, because these little guys are all over the place. And I love bees. They're adorable. Look at this little guy. Oh, he's having the time of his life. He's having it. I love my new phone. Look at this. Look at the kind of thing I couldn't get last time, huh? Look at this. You've got cuttings here, actually. This perfectly proves the point. We've got cuttings here in the shoe. They're not as healthy as the ones in the big pot, but you can see they're doing. This one's even flowered. So yeah, these will all go over there at some point. I can't remember what this is. I think this might also be another sedum. It looks like it, doesn't it, with the growth we got here. I think this might be another one of them. It's them over there. It's very, very similar, but it hasn't grown quite the same. The peppermint's still doing its thing. It's still lovely and luscious. I've harvested it a few times. But one thing I have noticed this year is it hasn't grown quite as tremendous as last year. God, I can already smell it. Just doing that. I love the smell of this, man. It hasn't grown quite as tremendous as last year, which is interesting. So I'm going to have to make sure I do a proper job of cutting everything down at some point. Phlox, they were looking beautiful a month ago. There was just a carpet of pinks and like whites. It was gorgeous. These are dandelions. You can eat them. I just keep them in this little pot like here, and I will harvest them every now and again. The leaves are more nutritious than spinach, and the flowers make decent sweetener if you want to make like natural teas and things like that. I forget what this is, but it's doing quite well. I've had this for a very short amount of time. I'd say about 2 weeks. But it's shot up like crazy. I had it from the bulb. I might be a little bit more than 2 weeks actually, but yeah. The dogs have seen something. Alright. And back over here on this side. The yellow rose, the memorial... Girls! Enough. Enough. Sorry. The kids have decided that it's a great idea to pop their heads over the side, I think. They've been doing that lately. And the dogs don't like it. What was I saying? So, yeah. The memorial plant in terms of my mother, she always wanted yellow roses. She loved yellow roses. Initially, it was a memory for our dog at the time, Rosie. But it's turned into a memorial for her, and it's done quite well. At the start of the year, this thing was absolutely caked. Like, all of the top here was covered from head to toe in like pest insects, bugs and all that kind of thing. Like, it was they were draining the life of it. And I saw ants around as well, so chances are they were a farm. It was an ant farm, basically. Ants farming aphids for nectar. So yeah, but thankfully it's all good. It's grown back, it's come back, and this is another one before this starts to fall over its own weight that I think I'm going to need to tie back and keep contained. I especially don't want it kind of leaving over that way and then getting stuff down there, so I need to tie this back at some point. You got more wildflowers growing down here, more creeping thyme, complete wildflowers and weeds and stuff coming through next door. More of the same down here. It's just wild. I've just kind of left it at this point. I've not really been bothered, and I didn't like it at first. I'm like, all I could think of is, oh god, all I'm getting is weeds, and it's going to take an absolute pain in the ass to get it all sorted. But like, look, you can see back there again. The bees are all over it. Like, the bees love it, and it looks nice and wild, and I believe this is trendy now. I'm not one to follow trends, but whatever. This buggering thing, at this point, I'm just going to leave to die. I have been trying to grow this passion flower for like 2 fucking years straight, and it spent most of its life indoors. It needs consistent tropical weather. This is the kind of plant that I can only keep if I had a greenhouse, which I'm not getting. So yeah, it's doing its thing. It is growing. It is continuing to grow. I'm hoping it connects to this at some point to give it some leverage. In fact, I could probably do no, not just yet. But it's doing its thing. But at some point, as soon as we get a slight bit of cold, it's gonna die. And then, whatever. At this point, I'm sick of taking care of it. I'll use the pot for something else. I'm like, it's a lot of work for nothing. I'm not quite reaching that. Most of this is weeds, but there are some of these succulents that have survived and done quite well, and that looks extremely phallic. Ooh, look at that. But most of these are weeds at this point. This is mainly here just to keep this post in place, which is to stop the dogs from going in the back, because at some point in the future I'm going to turn this into a bit of a wild area. Perhaps. I also get rats around here quite often, so I don't know whether that's actually so much of a good idea. The traps have not gone off. Oh, wait, have they? No, the traps have not gone off. This was something, then the weeds took over, and I thought, fuck it, I'm leaving it. Same thing, like, the weeds just completely took the fuck over here, and at a certain point where I was coming out here every day and cleaning it, yeah, that is liverwort. I had a massive problem with this last year. It doesn't have roots. It clings to the top of consistently wet soil, and it spreads like a cancerous growth and just consumes everything. It's ugly as sin. It's like moss's ugly cousin. It's ugly as sin, and you can't get rid of it. And that's a really nice what was bronze fern, but quite frankly, again, you know, I'm at this point I have so many plants out here that if I'm going to consistently keep up with everything, I'm going to be spending all day out here every day, and like I'm not doing that. So, and here's my favorite area of the garden. We got some growth over here. This is going to be nice. We got the creeping thyme coming up, covering most of the little furries that were around here at some point. I don't know where they've gone. Is that one down there? Or is that another bulb that the kid has thrown over? Oh god, I hope none of them have gone in there. Yeah, the kid has decided that it's a really good idea to start throwing baby apples over the fence. Because why the fuck not? I hate children. I really do. I will never like children. But this little pond thing I've got going on. The planting, it died this year. I tried to replace it and it died again. As you can probably see, the local bird population has decided to use it as a bath, which is why it's like that. There we go. That'll do it without getting the hose out. There's some moss there, some algae there you can see, but for the most part, this duckweed is keeping away the algae growth, especially now that it's mostly taken over, so it's preventing it from becoming pure algae. I've got that in there to give it more oxygen, and hopefully it just doesn't become like stagnant water. I really hope none of those fucking things, though, has gone inside the pond. They probably have, because they'll rot, and it'll make my job harder. But it's one of those things. This has fallen slightly. But, yeah, that's a stump that I got from someone's garden. Neighbours. I just thought it looked good. I'm going to bin it for... You know what? It actually looks nice. I'm going to keep it. We'll shove it there. But this whole area is just like a little furry corner, and I like it. So you can see some of the furries there. Oh god, that was way too zoomed. Didn't mean to do that. See some furries there hanging out, and these mushrooms light up at night, and it's really, really nice. It's really nice. You know, it's looking really like a little fey corner. I like it. But yeah, look at this shit, man. There's a lot. There is a lot at this point. It looks wild as all hell. I really like it, but I am, at this point, focusing mainly on the pots. These are the things I'm giving most of my attention to. Not really this, because that is way too much fucking work. The moment this stops becoming therapy and starts just becoming work, that is when I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm not really into gardening, I suppose. I'm just into aspects of it. Ugh, anyway, that is me for now. I will finish this off by having a quick peek at the bees. Oh look, more bees. Look at the bees. The situation has improved with the addition of yet more bees. This video is all the buzz.